okay, I was a stan for this movie. Poor Things. I had it in like Oscar galore, which I'm glad I did because it is getting a lot of nominations. But what did I think of Poor Things? Chase Lee Hockey here with the Blue Futon reviewing Poor Things. What's it about? Pretty simple premise. Not really. Anyway, you have this god character, Willem Dafoe, putting an experiment on Emma Stone. And the experiment is taking her unborn infant's brain, put it in Emma Stone's brain, and see what she does. What does she does? Will she grow normally or will she grow exponentially because her body's already grown and her brain is still being developed? And now she wants to see the world with Mark Ruffalo. Does it go as well as it planned? Probably not, because this is a weird fucking film, and I don't know if I liked it. Okay, Poor Things, it's different, and you might be like, I want different. And this is for fucking you. I mean, the cinematography, which I still get confused of why he decides to change to the P-hole lens and then automatically go to like the normal lens, and the color scheme. I understand that he wanted to maybe do like her development in black and white, and then when she's fully developed, it'll be in color. Sure, I understand that, but I don't understand why that is going on. The second act of the film is the weakest act. The third act is phenomenal. The first act is phenomenal, but the second act, especially when you're in Paris, it was getting fucking repetitive. So in talking about the positives, Emma Stone absolutely knocks it out of the park. If I had to give an Oscar to someone, it is her or Carey Mulligan, then Lily Gladstone. That's just what I'm seeing. Emma Stone does a fantastic job. I didn't want to see Mark Ruffalo naked, his ass, but you do it in this film. And you see a lot of Emma Stone full frontal. You see a lot of penises as well. And that's where I don't like the film when it comes to that second act, but let's just continue with the positives. The production design, 5 stars. The costume designs, 5 stars. The acting by everyone, 5 stars. This is a technically well-crafted film. And if I had to give an Oscar for costumes and production design, I'm giving it to Poor Things just because it's something that you have to think about and be original. Barbie's not original. You have already the toys and the costumes doing it. So I'm sorry. Poor Things deserves the Oscar over Barbie through in and through fucking out. There should be no question about that. I think the story is interesting, especially the part where she's going to Lisbon or on this cruise and sees Alexandria, and she's wondering like what can she do to help the people. And it does do this weird, like, I want to call it socialism capitalism, because there is a character that's like, fuck both of it. The world's just doomed in the first place. Where they kind of see that because there's no perfect system. And this movie kind of goes that route in the first half, but when she goes to Paris, there's this weird I want to call it socialism storyline with her and this black friend, which, of course, then comes to her eating her out. Well, you're just like, okay, I'm kind of just going all over the place because this movie's all over the place where I'm going with. Like I said, I wouldn't say I loved it, but there's this weird shit, especially this Willem Dafoe bubble thing. I didn't understand really that level of it. Sure, why not? But Emma Stone doing the dancing, doing her baby mannerisms, it really fucking works. The end of the film really works. It goes to a nice human centipede. Not like connecting asses to faces, but like just a weird experiment. Felt like a human centipede-esque style of thing, especially with some of the brain and goat. Sure, why not? And I think it's interesting. Like, I enjoy it. It was when we were in Paris. It just felt gratuitous. It felt repetitive. It felt like I didn't need to see all this sex. Like, yes, I understand how she's exploring her sexuality, but it's like, how many times do I need to see Mark Ruffalo fuck Emma Stone? How many times do I just need to see random dudes fuck her? How many times do I see like her getting eaten out? It's just like, it just felt gratuitous, and it felt just wrong on some levels. Where, yes, I understand you're trying to push the boundaries, but I know Emma Stone might have felt okay with it. She's the producer of the film. She was okay with what she was doing. With the outsider looking in, it just felt like, I feel like you're being used. And I know what am I to tell Emma Stone she's being used or not? Because she said she felt comfortable with Yorgos Lanthimos doing this stuff because it ain't easy of the stuff she's asking, especially with Mark Ruffalo. Like, it's a lot of sex in this movie. It is a lot. And of course, Yorgos is like, oh, why are we looking at sex differently than violence? I mean, maybe because it's okay for me to watch it with my parents, because I ain't watching Poor Things with my parents. I'm not. I am truly fucking not watching this movie with my parents. So, yeah, I like the design of this movie. I understand what it was going for, but I think some of the story in the second half really took me out of the film. I think the gratuitousness of it, the repetitiveness really took me out of this film. So overall, Poor Things. I was about to call it this year's Babylon with what it does, but I think Saltburn is this year's Babylon, and Poor Things is just Yorgos doing Yorgos shit with like the favorite, like the lobster, like fish tank. So I mean, it's not like he was trying to do something different, because when you watch a film like his, you expect stuff like this. There was just fun elements to this movie that I was like, oh, that's interesting, but why? That's interesting, but why? And I think that's the overall aspect of this movie is just, why was Mark Ruffalo so fascinated with her? You really don't get that. Why was this character at the very end coming in? Shouldn't he have been a little bit more? Why use the peephole lenses or peephole lenses? I said peephole lenses. I'm fucking weird, aren't I? Why do this? And you don't really explain it, but it's an interesting enough movie that I can recommend it, but not with the parents. So Poor Things will receive a 3 out of 5 with Futon. It goes at 60%. So these are the critics and user scores gave this one. Critics say 93% with 256 of them. Audience score 84% with 250. Critic consensus: wildly imaginative and exhilaratingly over the top. Poor Things is a bizarre, brilliant tour de force for director Yorgos Lanthimos and star Emma Stone. So I am very curious on the Rotten Peeps. 1 out of 4. I hated it. C-. Some people despise this film. But the thing is, I can understand. It's not like one of those films where, like, how do you hate The Iron Claw? How do you hate Mission Impossible? How do you hate John Wick 4? This, I can see how some people fucking hate it. 60, 84, 93. Chase Talk here with the Blue Futon. Like, comment, subscribe. One of the things, Blutontopia. You Blutons are a great day. I don't care. Watch this tape tomorrow, weekend, or a month, or a year from now. Every single freaking one of you. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't see Poor Things being on my top 25. I just don't.